Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. US envoy Kenneth Juster makes his first policy as ambassador to India, identifies defense and counter-terrorism as the key pillars of India-US cooperation. In its first space mission in 2018, ISRO all set to launch India's 100th satellite into space. A countdown begins for PSLV's C-40 Cartosat 2 series mission. PSLV will put 31 satellites into space. 3 of them will be Indian. Maldives Foreign Minister Mohammad Asim in India on a 3-day visit holds talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on bilateral issues and irritants causing trust deficit between both countries, conveys Maldivian President's message to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And President Donald Trump says US could return to the landmark Paris Climate Agreement, defends his decision to withdraw from the agreement, saying that the Paris Climate Accord treated US unfairly. Well, the US is working closely with India to get it the membership of the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Stating this in his first policy speech after taking over as the US ambassador, Kenneth Juster expressed hope that India will also soon join the export control regime Australia Group. He also said the US is clear that it will not tolerate cross-border terrorism or safe havens for terrorists anywhere.
US Ambassador to India Kenneth Juster on Thursday stated that both India and the US are working together for India's membership in the NSG. Speaking in great detail about the strong relationship between both countries, he said America looks at India as an emerging power in the Indian Ocean.
A number of US companies have reported increasing difficulties conducting business in the largest market in the region, China. Accordingly, some companies are downgrading their operations there, while others are looking with great interest at alternative markets. India can seize the strategic opportunity.
Explaining America's stand on terrorism, the US ambassador said American leaders, including President Donald Trump, clearly believe that terrorism cannot be tolerated at any cost.
We've made completely clear that we will not tolerate terrorism, cross-border terrorism, or any form of terrorism, or safe havens of any type. And we work closely with India on issues of information sharing and other types that relate to terrorism more broadly, going beyond just what's happening in Afghanistan.
Meanwhile, cross-border terrorism was also the only topic of discussion at a recent meeting between the National Security Advisors of India and Pakistan. On Thursday, the government disclosed that both NSAs had met in Thailand on December 26th.
जैसे DGMO लेवल पे चर्चा होती रहती है, मुलाकात होती रहती है. BSF और पाकिस्तानी रेंजर्स के बीच में भी मुलाकात होती रहती है, रेगुलर मैकेनिज्म उनका है.
The Foreign Ministry also said that while there can be negotiations with Pakistan, terrorism and talks cannot go together. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
India will launch its first space mission of 2018 on Friday, a mission that will also mark the launch of ISRO's 100th satellite, the PSLV C-40 Cartosat 2 series. The countdown for the ambitious launch began on Thursday morning, 24 hours before the launch. A total of 31 satellites will be launched on Friday, of which 3 are from India and 28 from 6 other countries.
In a milestone event in India's space mission, ISRO is set to launch its 100th satellite along with 30 others in a single mission on Friday. ISRO's PSLV C-40 Cartosat 2 series satellite mission is scheduled to be launched on Friday at 9:28 a.m. from the first launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center, coming 4 months after a similar launch vehicle failed to deliver country's 8th navigation satellite in the Earth's lower orbit on 31st of August last year. The launch is crucial as it marks the maiden century of Indian satellites.
With that, the C-40 is one this, yes, we are back to the game. And another thing is, now we are coming to this also, this is more 31 satellites being launched. and 28 comes from outside India. 3 of our satellites, and so 40th launch of PSLV marks the maiden century of Indian satellite thing. The 3 family of satellites, nano, micro, and cartography satellite. It's we are all eagerly waiting for that, and 12th is the launch slated for that.
According to ISRO, the 3 Indian satellites that will be launched include a 710 kg Cartosat 2 series for Earth observation, a 100 kg microsatellite, and a 5 kg nanosatellite. The other 28 satellites are from Canada, Finland, France, South Korea, the UK, and the US. The total weight of all 31 satellites is 1,323 kg. As an observational satellite, Cartosat will beam high-quality images for cartographic, urban and rural applications, coastal land use and regulation, and utility management like road network monitoring.
Yeah, that mission, one is you look at here, the PSLV had a very successful tenure up to 39. The last 39th mission we had a setback. Though the launch vehicle has put it into the what it's supposed to do, but unfortunately it could not release the satellite into the orbit because the heat shield could not open there. So now we understood why it has not happened, the failure. So that's why it takes slightly more time. Now unambiguously a lot of tests have been done, repeated tests, so that such a problems cannot come. We recreated and ensured that such a problems will not come. With that, the C40 is on this. Yes, we are back to the game. And another thing is, now we are coming to this also. This is more 31 satellites being launched.
And particularly the Cartosat series, which is very important for monitoring Earth observation, monitoring land usage, water usage, for people's usage, for better utilization of our resources respecting nature. These observations are very important. So from utility point of view, each and every one of these launches is a step forward in our build-up of our resources and confidences.
According to ISRO, Cartosat 2 series satellite launch is a follow-on mission with the primary objective of providing high-resolution, scene-specific spot imageries. This will be the 3rd satellite in the Cartosat 2 series. With Aruna Thakur, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Maldives has assured India that it will not indulge in any activity that is detrimental to its interests. Visiting Maldivian Foreign Minister Mohammad Asim also told the Indian leadership that India's security concerns will be taken care of in its relations with any other country. Here's more.
Foreign Minister of Maldives Mohammad Asim met his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj in Delhi on Thursday. Besides discussing issues of bilateral importance, they also exchanged views on incidents that are causing a trust deficit between the two countries, especially in the wake of Maldives signing a free trade agreement with China, while allegedly keeping the opposition in the dark.
The Maldivian foreign minister, he arrived yesterday, and today is a series of meetings he is having. He already had a meeting with the External Affairs Minister. EM also hosted a lunch for him. We do attach high importance to our relations with Maldives. They have a India first policy, we have a neighborhood first policy. I think it is important for two countries to work together.
The Maldivian foreign minister also met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and conveyed the message of Maldivian President Abdullah Yameen. To further address India's concerns, Maldives is sending Defence Minister Adam Sharif to Delhi to meet Union Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Maldives is a small but strategically located country on Indian Ocean and very significant for India's larger security goals. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Israel will invest $68.6 million to boost cooperation with India in areas like tourism, technology, agriculture and innovation over a period of 4 years. The announcement was made by a senior official in Jerusalem ahead of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's high-profile India visit next week. The commitment is in addition to the India-Israel Industrial R&D and Technological Innovation Fund of $40 million over 5 years, with equal contribution from both sides that has already been agreed. At least 130 businessmen from 102 Israeli companies drawn from areas like agriculture, water, cybersecurity, healthcare and security will accompany Netanyahu during his 4-day trip to India. Several MOUs, including in the field of oil and gas, renewable energy, amended protocol for airports, cybersecurity, co-production of films and documentaries will be signed between the two sides. This will be the second visit by an Israeli Prime Minister to India after a gap of 15 years since Ariel Sharon visited New Delhi in 2003.
India and Israel have been commemorating 25 years of diplomatic relations. On this occasion, Prime Minister of India undertook a historic first ever visit to Israel in July 2017. The visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu is a return visit on this occasion. Both Prime Ministers will attend the second India-Israel CEO Forum meeting to be held on 15th January in New Delhi. The first CEO Forum was held during the PM's visit to Israel. PM Netanyahu will also address a separate business event to be organized on the same day.
Well, former Congress leader and Union Minister Arif Muhammad Khan has stoutly defended the criminalization of triple talaq with a provision for a 3-year imprisonment in the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2017. He said the act of instant divorce is a criminal act under Islamic jurisprudence and deserves effective punishment.
In an interview in Rajya Sabha TV's To The Point program, former Congress leader Arif Muhammad Khan elaborated on the origin of triple talaq, stating that Islamic jurisprudence has always held it un-Islamic. He said that second Caliph Umar had first allowed triple talaq but made it a criminal act punishable with 40 lashes, which can't be considered a civil punishment.
Right from day one, this act has been treated as a criminal act. And Caliph Umar, in whose time this act was for the first time, I told you, pre-Islamic days, this was the common practice. Right. But after Islam, the first man who gave legal sanctity to this was Caliph Umar. But he used to avoid. He allowed it, but he treated it as a criminal act and awarded 40 lashes to a person who made 3 pronouncements in one sitting. Awarding 40 lashes, is it a civil punishment?
Speaking out against his erstwhile party's position on the triple talaq bill, he praised Muslim women who are fighting for the bill, while holding the Congress responsible for the stalemate over it in the Rajya Sabha.
That as far as this bill is concerned, this is not a fight between BJP and Congress. This is a fight between Muslim women who are struggling to secure their human rights, and the Muslim Personal Law Board, which wants to keep them oppressed and suppressed and enslaved.
Referring to a press note issued by the All India Muslim Personal Law Board on January 2nd, Arif Muhammad Khan accused the Congress of acting solely under the directions of AIMPLB on the issue.
This is a press release which has been issued by All India Personal Law Board.
Okay.
And it clearly says, from the text of this press release, it is clear that they work after the passage of the bill in the Lok Sabha, when it was on 27th, 28th, whatever is the date, they worked overtime. They have mentioned all these parties by name.
Arif Muhammad Khan also questioned the demand of the Congress to send the bill to a select committee when it didn't do so in 1986. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, in other news now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with BJP Chief Amit Shah and the party's General Secretaries on Thursday evening at his official residence in New Delhi. In the meeting, the leaders took stock of the current political situation in the country. The leaders also discussed strategy ahead of crucial assembly elections in 8 states this year and next year's general elections. While Tripura and Meghalaya are likely to go to polls next month, Karnataka will go to polls in May. Nagaland, Mizoram, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh will also go to polls this year. The centre today backed Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti's statement in the State Assembly on Wednesday, saying that Kashmir has everything to gain from the rest of the country. However, a day later after Mufti's statement, her People's Democratic Party MLA stoked a controversy today by describing Kashmiri militants killed by security forces as martyrs. The opposition criticised the statement.
The central government has welcomed Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti's statement made in the State Assembly on Wednesday. Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said the people of India want to see the development of Jammu and Kashmir and its citizens happy.
टेररिस्ट ये सेपरेटिस्ट है, ये जो है वो कश्मीर और कश्मीर जम्मू एंड कश्मीर के लोगों के दुश्मन है, उनकी तरक्की के दुश्मन है, उनके सुकून के और अमन के दुश्मन है। खुद महबूबा जी ने बहुत साफ कहा है कि हमें अमन के रास्ते पे चलना चाहिए, हमें तरक्की के रास्ते पे, विकास के रास्ते पे चलना चाहिए, और हमें अमन और विकास का रास्ता जो है वो दिल्ली से ही होके जाता है।
Replying to a debate on the governor's address in the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly, Mehbooba Mufti said Kashmir is slowly returning to peace. She said everyone needs to help the government maintain peace in the state. She also maintained that whatever the state had got, it was from India alone.
जम्मू कश्मीर के जो भी लोग हैं, मेन स्ट्रीम और आउटसाइड मेन स्ट्रीम, जो मिलने वाला है इसी मुल्क से मिलेगा और कहीं से कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला। जो आज तक मिला वो भी यहीं से मिला, जो आगे मिलने वाला है, चाहे वो इज्जत का वकार, चाहे वो लाइफ की डिग्निटी हो, चाहे और रास्ते खोलने की बात हो, चाहे ट्रेड को दूसरे लेवल पे ले जाने की बात हो, चाहे खून खराबा बंद करके डायलॉग की बात हो, ये सब किसने करना है? ये तो कोई बाहर का मुल्क नहीं करेगा, तो हमारे अपने मुल्क ने करना है।
However, on Thursday, Mehbooba Mufti's party MLA Ejaz Ahmed Mir stoked the controversy by describing Kashmiri militants killed by security forces as martyrs. The opposition National Conference hit out against the statement, accusing the PDP of having double standards on terrorists.
जो कश्मीरी है वो तो भाई है, मिलिटेंट भी वो भाई है, जो कश्मीर के हैं, जो कश्मीर के हैं चाहे किसी भी हालत में मरते हैं वो मार्टियर ही।
You should ask them whether they are killing militants, they are participating in their funerals. This is their job to reply. Why there is contradiction? Why there are double standards? It is their job to see.
In her speech on Wednesday, Mehbooba Mufti also affirmed that the Jammu and Kashmir government will ensure that local youth who joined terrorist organizations are all brought back to the mainstream. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A two-day workshop to assess the progress of smart cities began in New Delhi on Thursday. Organized by the Niti Aayog, the workshop focused on planned and sustainable development of cities. Yasmo.
Niti Aayog organized a workshop to assess the implementation of the Smart City project. CEOs of 90 cities and officials from the Urban Development Ministry shared their experiences during the program. Addressing the gathering, the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog said, the dream of smart cities can be achieved only by using modern technology and establishing resource centers.
वर्कशॉप के माध्यम से जो मैंने 3 मुद्दे उठाए थे, जिसमें कि मैंने कहा था कि एम्पावर्ड सिटीज़ की मतलब एक राजनीतिक को दिया जाए, दूसरा कि नई टेक्नोलॉजी जिससे कि वो सस्टेनेबल हो, और तीसरी है कि एक इंटेलेक्चुअल वो सेंटर्स बने, उस पर यहाँ पे बातचीत होगी, उससे कुछ जो निष्कर्ष निकलेगा उसको हम नीति आयोग में आगे बढ़ाएंगे.
Now India is doing urbanization. If you go from here to Rajasthan, you will see urbanization taking place here. But it's all unplanned, unscientific urbanization. The challenge is, how do we do planned, sustainable urbanization which will trigger growth and employment?
Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri stressed upon the need to tackle the problem of pollution.
43% of the carbon emissions are produced by buildings. So if we get our construction right, and if we get the right approach to construction and to the use of right technology, you can bring that 43% of toxic emissions to neutral and then make them positive energy providers.
This two-day workshop is to focus on promoting revenue models for urban bodies, the PPP model, and improvement in accounts and audit systems. Smart City project is an ambitious scheme of the Government of India. It aims to identify and enlist 100 cities as smart cities. With inputs from Mohammad Fateh Tipu, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Supreme Court has directed the centre and the state governments of Tamil Nadu and Kerala to set up 3 separate committees to deal with any unpredictable disaster that may occur at the site of the Mullaperiyar Dam. A bench comprising Chief Justice Deepak Mishra and Justices A.M. Kanvilkar and D.Y. Chandrachud, however, clarified that the proposed panels would only deal with the disaster aspect of the dam situated in Kerala. An existing panel that was set up following the 5-judge Constitution Bench verdict in 2014 will continue to look into the issues relating to safety and lifespan of the 180-year-old dam. The bench was hearing a petition seeking a direction to authorities concerned that a study be conducted by international experts on the issue of safety and lifespan of the dam. The petition also seeks a decommissioning of the dam. Over 3 million residents who live near the dam are in constant fear that a disaster may hit them in the near future. President Ramnath Kovind on Thursday inaugurated the 4th International Conference on Dharma at Rajya in Bihar. Addressing the gathering, the President said that Buddhism promoted pluralism and diversity of thoughts.
Anyone who has been touched by Lord Buddha has embraced a process of ceaseless and constant striving to become a better person as well as a more enlightened person. A person who has tried to rise above material ambitions and acquisitiveness. This is true for human beings, but it also applies to societies and nations. We must all appreciate the Dharma or the Dhamma of the containment.
Well, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu made a personal visit to the Tirupati temple on Thursday. He offered prayers at the temple and extended Sankranti greetings to people. He will be ushering in the festival at his hometown in Nellore.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu visited the Tirumala Tirupati Devsthanam in Andhra Pradesh on Thursday. Accompanied by members of his family, the Vice President offered prayers to Lord Venkateshwar Swami at the crack of the dawn. Asserting that India believes in Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, he urged the younger generation to respect everyone.
Sarva Manava Saubhratutvaniki, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Adevidanga Vasudaika Kutumbu ani cheppani mana పూర్వీకులు మనకి ఆ రోజుల్లో చెప్పారు. దాన్ని మనం గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. కేవలం మన గొప్పది మన ధర్మాన్ని కాకుండా ఆ గొప్పతనం ఏందో మన యొక్క చర్యల ద్వారా, మన యొక్క చేష్టల ద్వారా, మన యొక్క కార్యక్రమాల ద్వారా చూపించాల్సిన అవసరం ఎంతో ఉంది. ప్రజల మధ్య ప్రకృతి కృత్రిమమైన ఈ కుల భేదాలు, ఈ మత భేదాలను అధిగమించి అందరం కూడా కలిసికట్టుగా సోదర భావంతో జీవించాలనేది.
Speaking to the media, the Vice President said everyone must perform their duties with discipline and dedication. He also extended good wishes to the people ahead of the auspicious Sankranti festival. The Vice President will celebrate Makar Sankranti at his hometown, Nellore. Rajkamal Rao's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to the country's second Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri on his death anniversary on Thursday. Taking to microblogging site Twitter, the Prime Minister said Shastri's impeccable service will be remembered for generations to come. Meanwhile, Congress President Rahul Gandhi also paid homage to Shastri on Twitter and invoked the late leader to emphasize the importance of building up unity and solidarity of people. Well, China has objected to Vietnam's invitation to India to invest in oil and the natural gas sector in the disputed South China Sea. Reacting to Vietnam's ambassador to India, Ton Sin Tan, remarks made on Tuesday, China said it is firmly opposed to infringement of its rights using development of bilateral ties as an excuse. China said, and I quote, China does not object to the development of normal bilateral relations of relevant countries in our neighborhood. But China firmly opposes relevant party to use it as an excuse to infringe upon its legitimate rights and interests in the South China Sea and impair regional peace and stability. On Tuesday, Ton Sin Tan had told an Indian news channel that his country would welcome Indian investments in the South China Sea. Ton had also said that defence cooperation is one of the important and effective areas of cooperation between India and Vietnam. China has been opposing ONGC exploring oil in wells claimed by Vietnam in the South China Sea for years. India has been asserting that the ONGC's exploration is a commercial operation and not connected with the dispute. China claims almost all of the South China Sea, while Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei and Taiwan have counterclaims. Well, a legislation that seeks to push for a merit-based immigration system and to increase the allotment of green cards was introduced in the US House of Representatives on Thursday. The bill seeks to increase the allotment of green cards by 45% from the current 120,000 to 175,000 per annum. Backed by the Trump administration, the legislation securing America's Future Act, if passed by Congress and signed into law by Trump, will end the diversity visa program. It will also reduce the overall immigration levels from currently averaging 1.05 million to 260,000 a year. The move by the US government may benefit Indian techies if signed into law. The increase in the number of green cards per annum is likely to reduce their wait period drastically. Having a green card, officially known as a permanent resident card, allows a person to live and work permanently in the United States. Well, President Donald Trump has said that the United States of America could conceivably return to the landmark Paris Climate Agreement. Addressing a news conference, Donald Trump said that he had no problem with the agreement, but with the deal that was signed. He called it a bad deal for the United States. Trump said his primary concern was that the accord treated the U.S. unfairly. He added that if a better deal could be reached, Washington could be persuaded to rejoin. Trump claimed that the deal put huge penalties on the United States and made it very difficult for its business. He also insisted that the deal took away a lot of asset values from the country. In June, Trump withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Agreement that was agreed upon by over 190 countries during the previous Obama administration. The central aim of the Paris Agreement is to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change by limiting the rise global temperature in this century to below 2 degrees Celsius to 1.5 degrees Celsius. It also calls on countries to combat climate change and accelerate actions and investments needed for a sustainable low-carbon future, as well as to adapt to the increasing impacts of climate change. Well, US President Donald Trump also expressed openness to holding talks with North Korea. Trump said this during a call with South Korean President Moon Jae-in on Wednesday. Trump also said that there would be no military action while the two Koreas were talking, and that a media article saying he was contemplating a military strike against North Korea was completely wrong. The call came a day after representatives from North and South Korea held day-long negotiations in the demilitarized zone, where Pyongyang agreed to send a delegation to next month's Winter Olympics and to hold talks with Seoul to ease military tensions. After the talk, South Korean President Moon had credited Trump with making a huge contribution to bringing the North and South together. Trump has also taken credit for the talks.
I just spoke to President Moon. He's very thankful for what we've done. They're having talks with North Korea. We'll see how that happens. He's very thankful for what we've done. It was so reported today that we were the ones without our attitude. That would have never happened. Who knows where it leads? Hopefully it'll lead to success for the world, not just for our country, but for the world. And we'll be seeing over the next number of weeks and months what happens.
Well, the United States on Wednesday issued a new travel advisory for its citizens with a level of advice ranging from 1 to 4 level, with 1 being the most favored one. Now, every country has a travel advisory based on this system, which has replaced all previous advisories. Level 1 advises travelers to exercise normal precaution, while Level 4, which has countries like Afghanistan, recommends do not travel. India has been placed in Level 2, which advises increased caution, while Pakistan has been placed in Level 3, meaning reconsider travel. American officials said India was user-friendly but asked its citizens not to travel to Jammu and Kashmir except for eastern Ladakh and Leh. It also cautioned its citizens on incidents of sexual assault and rape as one of the fastest growing crimes in India. Well, that's it on this newscast. Good night.